As a kid, I devoured books. As I transitioned to high school, reading a page a day was hard. What the heck happened? Until 2 years ago, I believed I couldn't read. After confronting my excuses and working around them, I adopted a reading habit back into my life and couldn't be happier. In this video, I'll explain all the reasons most people say they can't read and why they're also excuses. Reason number 1, you don't have the time to read. This is easily the most common reason. Yes, you do. It's not that you don't have the time, but you aren't taking the time to do so. In the book Make Time, the authors explain everything we do is a series of moments in time. It follows from this that time management, broadly defined, should be everyone's chief concern. Arguably, time management is all life is. All you have to do is fit some time in for reading. It doesn't have to be long. 15 minutes a day over a year is mountains better than not reading. In his book, Atomic Habits, James Clear explains if you got 1% better every day for an entire year, you would be 37.78 times better at that thing by the end of the year. Contrastingly, if you got 1% worse every day for a year, you would be at 0.03 times the level you were at beforehand. Reading for 15 minutes compounds over a year. Read for 15 minutes a day. Everyone has 15 minutes. And for anyone that says they like binge reading over breaks or in large chunks, stop. Reading this way destroys your ability to get anything out of what you read. Sure, for fiction, sometimes it's fun to get sucked into a book and engulf it in one weekend, but it allows no time for digesting, note-taking, or thinking. It makes forming a consistent reading habit hard as well. If you read for 6 hours one day, you might leave yourself with no time to read over the next. Unless it's a break, you will drop all ties to reading when times get busy. Reason number 2, reading is boring. There are so many more fun things to do than reading. Going on Facebook groups and messaging your 150 friends, scrolling through cat videos on YouTube, or scouring the refrigerator for the last piece of dark chocolate. Like with anything worth it in life, the fruit of reading takes time to show. Many people think they hate reading because they pick up any random book they spot, commonly nonfiction, read 5 pages, and then set it down to check their text messages for the 87th time that day. The best books to read are the ones you're excited about reading all the time. Start with something you have a background in. Reading is vastly more fun if you can connect the information to other parts of your life. If you read Thinking Fast and Slow before ingraining a reading habit, you will stop. It's denser than a pile of diamonds. You don't have to start with a nonfiction book. There's plenty of fiction, sci-fi, fantasy, manga, comic books, graphic novels, and memoirs out there as well. Don't feel bad if you read these books because they excite you. Reading things other than nonfiction is still reading. Once you have the habit ingrained, you can start thinking about moving to more challenging books. Reason number 3, buying books costs too much. Books are an investment in your future. I buy twice as many books as I get through. People are willing to spend $20 on a takeout meal, but not $10 on a Kindle book. The meal you eat contributes to your physical well-being for one day. One idea ingrained from a book contributes to your mental well-being for your entire life. Reason number 4, it's the end of a hard workday and there is no way you're motivating yourself to read. The day can be tiring. I understand. I go to Cornell University. At the end of the day, most people want to sit down in front of the couch with a good show and dessert. As said earlier, a reading habit doesn't have to be long. 15 minutes of reading a day will compound over months and years. Are you truly satisfied with your leisure anyways? Studies show leisure isn't nearly as satisfying as you think it is. Cal Newport explains in his book, Digital Minimalism, doing nothing is overrated. In the middle of a busy workday or after a particularly tiring morning of childcare, it's tempting to crave the release of having nothing to do. Whole blocks of time with no schedule, no expectations, and no activity beyond whatever seems to catch your attention in the moment. These decompressing sessions have their place, but the rewards are muted, as they tend to devolve toward low-quality activities like mindless phone swiping and half-hearted binge watching. It's easier to derive enjoyment from most types of work or from a reading habit because feedback loops are built into the activities. Most forms of leisure have no feedback loops. You have to make them fun in some way. Will you enjoy looking back on your life 10 years down the line and realize you spent most of your nights distracting yourself by staring at a screen? Reason number 5, reading is an isolating endeavor. Reading is an isolating endeavor if you treat it like one. If you implement the habit mindfully, reading is one of the most social things you can do. Join book groups, talk to family and friends about insights, share ideas on Twitter, and meet intellectuals from the books you read. Knowledge fosters intimate conversation. This conversation can grow into wisdom. Conversation blesses the unique from the all too typical, how's the weather outside? And how did you sleep last night? There's nothing inherently wrong with these questions, except when they take up most of your conversation topics. Reading helps you attain the knowledge to make every conversation more interesting. Reason number 6, books are too long. Some nonfiction writers put massive amounts of anecdotes and text around one simple idea. Most self-help or business books are written like this. One Piece, the most popular manga in the world, is over 100 volumes long. These books can be a slog. If you're more comfortable reading something short, then do so. Some of the best books ever made are incredibly short. Chess Story by Stefan Zweig is only 85 pages on Kindle. Of Mice and Men is only 107 pages. It's your choice what you read. Variance in reading is essential, but in the beginning, ingraining the habit is what matters. You can also read blogs. They're like books, but cut straight to the chase. Some of the best blogs I would recommend are Forte Labs, David Perel, and Ali Abdaal. Reason number 7, you can consume things faster in other mediums. Why should you read a book if you can listen to some YouTube videos on a topic or read a quick book summary and call it a day? Other mediums are faster. You can speed up a YouTube video to 2 times, and some podcasts can go up to 3 times. The average person can listen to things at 300 words per minute. We can listen to things much faster than we can read. But what's the point of consumption in the first place? I'm consuming to learn things. While we can listen to something at that speed, we can't comprehend them. When reading a book, you have to do a lot of the thinking yourself. Hopefully, the author has tried to package it in the most digestible way possible, but there's only so much they can do. Tell me honestly if you can remember a single thing learned from a YouTube video 3 months ago. I, however, can recount a massive amount of information of the book Dopamine Nation, which I read 3 months ago. Of course, I did many other things than just read the book, like creating a blog post. But the point still stands. Text media often facilitates better comprehension than speech media. Reason number 8, you think you can't read. Some people honestly can't read. You might have dyslexia or be blind. In this case, listen to audible books or podcasts. As mentioned before, speech-based media is harder to derive value from, but still much better than the alternative, not reading. You can still dive deep into the personalities and thoughts of influential authors and other people. This is where part of the fun of reading comes for me anyways, getting to explore the minds of some of the most insightful people on this planet. Reason number 9, you could never get through every book that exists. This one really gets me. Some people refuse to read because they wouldn't be able to keep up with every piece of news on the internet. Who has the time to read an 800-page book like the Iliad when there are puppy videos to watch, news to read, and likes to give on social media? People like this operate on FOMO, the fear of missing out. I have a secret for you. You're missing out right now. You have been missing out on things your entire life. There are nearly 30,000 hours of video content uploaded to YouTube every hour. You will never be able to consume everything on the internet, and that's okay. You shouldn't be consuming these things anyway. Most people believe the more information they consume, the more signal or valuable information they will attain. It's the exact opposite. The more information you consume, the more likely the information is noise or useless. Consuming anything on social media for more than 30 to 60 minutes in a day is a waste of time unless your job requires it. Nassim Taleb, in his book Anti-Fragile, calls this the noise bottleneck. Ironically, reading a small number of things by choosing high-quality literature will cause you to miss out on much less than refreshing your social media feed every 5 seconds. Let's be honest, you aren't missing out on anything except garbage by avoiding 99% of social media. Reason number 10, you aren't a reader. Many people act on past identities. They say, I'm an unproductive person, or I'm bad at math because of the experiences of their past self. This type of thinking is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Henry Ford once said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. If you don't identify as a reader, why would you pick up a book and read it? Even if you haven't ingrained a reading habit yet, I want you to identify as a reader. And what do readers do? They read. If you've watched this far, you clearly care about building a reading habit. In this case, you should check out my reading mega class. It goes into depth on how to start a consistent reading habit and how to refine it after you have one. As always, have a fantastic day and bye-bye.